They say that an image says more than 1,000 words. That may be true, but on the web, an image also makes things easier to digest, and they can bring both life and context to the text on your pages. WordPress offers several different ways of storing, sourcing, and including images in your post, and also gives you great flexibility when it comes to deciding how those images will be displayed within the context of that post. But before we add images to the text in posts using the dashboard, let's take a quick look at how you can post new images directly to your blog without going to the dashboard directly from the front end of WordPress.com. You may remember that on WordPress.com, you can post content directly to your blog without going to the dashboard. You do that either by going to the front page and selecting the New Post tab, and from here you can create new posts. Or you can go to your toolbar at any time when you're on a WordPress.com website and click on New Posts, and the same panel opens here at the top. I'm going to use the one on the front page. From here, you can either write a post a photo, post a video, post a quote, or post a link. In this case, I want to post a new photo, so I'll click Post a Photo, and the interface changes to a photo interface. From here, I can click Select a Photo to upload a new photo to my blog. I'll select a photo from my computer, and that photo gets uploaded into WordPress.com. Once it's uploaded, I can give the photo a title and a caption. This caption is the text that will display directly under the image. And if I want to, I can also attach a link to the image so that if someone clicks on the image, they'll go to that link. Let's say I wanted to link directly to my Flickr profile. I would go to http://Flickr. So now, if someone sees the post and clicks on the image, they'll jump directly to my Flickr profile. At the very bottom, I can add some tags to the image if I want to. Gallery, photo, woman, thinking. And when I'm satisfied with all the information I've entered, I click Publish Photo. Now the photo's been published to my blog as a new post, and I can click View Post to see that post. And here you see the new post created on my blog. It has the title, it has the image, it has the caption, and down here, it has the tags. But you notice that I couldn't actually add any text to this post, so all you have is the caption and the title. What if I want to add in an image that is attached to a longer story? Or I want to add several images? Or I want to add an image that is inside the main text of a story? To do that, I have to go to the dashboard. Since I'm already on my site now, I can go to my dashboard by hovering over the site name and then clicking Dashboard. If I go to Posts, you'll see that I now have a new post called Woman at Gallery, and I have my original draft. So I'll go into my draft, and now I want to add an image directly into the text of this content. I want to add an image to the top of the story, so I'll place my cursor at the very front of the first line of text, and then I'll click the Insert Image button. It might be a little bit hard to find the first time. If you look at the very top here, above the edit area, you have this Upload Insert text with a little box next to it. This is the Add Media button. Although it doesn't look like a button, that's what it is. Next to it, you also have Add Poll and Add Custom Form, but we want to add media. So I'll click on the Add Media button, and this opens the Add Media pop-up panel. From here, I can either add media from my computer, from a URL, or I can grab existing media that's in my library on WordPress.com. By media, I don't mean just images. There are a lot of different files you can upload here. JPEGs, PNGs, GIFs, documents, PDFs, and so on. You can add those files in two ways. You can either click Select Files, and then browse through the content on your computer and upload something, or I can open a folder on my computer, find the image I want to use, and simply drag and drop it into this field. When I do so, the image gets uploaded into WordPress.com, as you can see down here, and when the image finishes uploading, I can start adding information to it. From the top here, I can add a title, an alternate text, a default caption, a description, and a link URL. Of all of these, the only one that has an asterisk for mandatory on it is the title. That's because WordPress uses the title to index the image so that you can find it later. The title is the name WordPress recognizes the image by, and by default, if the image doesn't come with a title attached in the file, it'll grab the file name and use it as the image. which is not very descriptive. So I'm going to change this to something that actually makes sense. And that way, if I go into the archive later and search for gallery or building, I'll find this image. Now I said that only the title has the asterisk on it because it's mandatory. But the alternate text should also have an asterisk on it, because although it's not mandatory from WordPress's perspective, it is mandatory from a web standards perspective. That's because if an image doesn't load on a page for some reason, or if you visit the page using a browser that doesn't see images, the alternate text is what appears in its place. The bottom line is, the alternate text doesn't just matter to people who use accessibility browsers like text-to-speech browsers because they're visually impaired. It also matters to regular users because not all browsers show all images at all times. And they matter for search engines who don't see images, but only the text attached to the images. So the alternate text should always be entered, and it should be as descriptive as possible. The alternate text will not be displayed anywhere on the site, but the default caption will be. So if I want this text to display in the site when people see the image, I'll simply copy it and paste it in as the default caption. Below default caption, you have something called description. This is the long description you attach if you want more information attached to the image. It'll usually be a separate file, and it's rarely used unless it's for something like graphs or informational data in an image that require more explanation. So for most cases, you'll leave that one blank. At the bottom of the text fields, you have link URL. By default, this link URL goes directly to the original file. So if you click on the image, you go directly to the full-size image. However, you can also click Attachment Post URL, in which case the URL will go to the attachment post for the image. That's the page that only contains the image with all the image information on it. If you wanted to link somewhere else, let's say you wanted to link to my lynda.com profile, I can click None and then put in my own URL. So to recap, from the top here, we have the title, which appears if you hover your mouse over the image. We have the alternate text that appears if the image doesn't appear. We have the default caption, which appears underneath the image. We have the description that is rarely used. And we have the link URL that is the link you land on if you click on the image. Below these fields, you have two more fields that decide how the image is displayed inside your content. The alignment allows you to align the image either by not aligning it and clicking None, in which case it'll float on its own separate from all the content. Or you can float the image left or right, which is kind of like the text break function inside Word. Or you can float it to the center, which means you place it on its own line in the center of the page. If I place it to the right and I pick a size from one of these default sizes and click Insert into Post, you'll see that the image now appears to the right of my content. If I hover over it, you see the title, you see the caption down here, and if I save my draft and then preview the post, you see the image appear inside my post. And if I click on it, I go directly to my profile on lynda.com. Now that you've added the image to your post, you may realize that you don't want it to appear the way it did. Let's say you want to change the alignment or change the size. If you want to make changes to the image now, click on the image and then click on this image button here, and you go back to your editor. From here, you can now change the alignment, so I'll change it to left. You can change the caption, you can change the alternate text, and you can change the title, and even the link URL. You can also reduce the size of it, so I'll take it down to 70%, and click Update. You see the image moved, it changed size, and I can now save the draft again. Now there's one more detail. What if you want to move the image to a different place on the page? Let's say you don't want it to appear above, but below the fold. In that case, you can simply grab the image and drag it to a different location. Now the image will appear down here below the fold, and all you have to do is click Save Draft, and if we preview the post, you'll see that now the image is down here. As you can see, adding images to your posts is a relatively simple procedure, and as with everything else in WordPress, it's extremely flexible and nothing is ever permanent. Just remember to give your images an alternate description.